Failures of implants are directly related to planning. If your planning is inappropriate, your case selection is inappropriate, you are going to see failures. And to add to that, if you don't have the adequate experience. So in order for us to prevent any of the above, you got to make sure that your patient selection is great and that as a surgeon, you're competent enough to make sure you're performing a successful surgical outcome. So as we go through the process, as the workflow comes in, you got to make sure you don't miss a step on the workflow itself. In order for that to attain, you got to make sure you get photographs, you make sure you get CT scans, make sure you get intra-oral scans. You need to blend all this information together and make sure that you have a prosthetically driven implant surgical protocol. What that means is that an implant can be placed anywhere in the body, but if you cannot put a tooth to it, how good is that implant? In order for that to be successful, you got to make sure that you are having every implant that you're going to place in the mouth is tooth driven or prosthetic driven. To achieve that, make sure that you are getting all the information and the data that is necessary. Patient education is important. It's like you buying a car, you just cannot keep driving it. You got to make sure you get it serviced. So you got to make sure that the patient understands that there are habits that could affect the outcome and the success of implants. That is especially smoking, grinding, clenching, not using the right kind of products, all of the above, and more importantly, missing recall or hygiene appointments. We encourage all of our patients at Aarohi Dental to make sure that they do not miss any of their oral hygiene habits and appointments, because if you do so, you're compromising your investment, and more importantly, you're compromising your smile and you're compromising your overall health. So it's imperative for us to make sure that as the patient is getting into the concept of implant procedures, they understand that it's a lifelong commitment. It is not a one-time deal. You got to make sure that you follow through with your process and your commitment, and making sure that you go by our suggestions and recommendations for a successful outcome and a successful, beautiful smile. In order for them to be treated as natural teeth, you got to make sure you brush them effectively. You are making sure you're keeping them nice and clean, because bacteria will find them no matter what. In order for us to limit the amount of bacterial invasion to these implant surfaces, you got to make sure not only plaque control or brushing habits are key, but also coming to your regular 6-month cleanings are very important for you. If you'd like to get more information on our robotic implant system and want to know more about how successfully we can transition your smile and a good overall health, feel free to call our office for a free consultation. You can always visit us at aarohidental.com for more information.